Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mike Colleen at MikeColleen.com. Sorry. Thought of something funny. All right, so this is Mike Colleen at MikeColleen.com, MikeKollin.com, and this video is going to be about me and who I am, the things I've done in my past. Over the years, people have asked me, make a video about yourself. Can you explain a little bit more about you? Your about page really doesn't, go into too much. So, so I'm a kick-ass, awesome kind of guy. I've always been kick-ass, literally. I'm kind of a mix between a fighter and a highly spiritual person. Now I'm going to start it with this, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my about page, which I'm now calling Living My Best Life. So that's going to be on the tab in the menu on my website. And here, hold on one second. So, I don't know why, but I don't really talk about my past. I don't really talk about the things I've accomplished now. All right, so let's start here. Ever since I was a little kid, I was an extremely spiritual person. But I just was. I didn't realize it's kind of like a frog's born a frog, a tiger's born a tiger. They are what they are. They don't know that they're different. It took me a long time to realize, people were like, what the fuck? How did you do that? Okay. Or how did you know that? Okay, so that's one thing about me. Now, the other thing about, and I used to go to church religiously, 3-4 days a week. I would go Bible study, youth group, morning church, evening church on Sundays. I was very involved for a long time, but a thing that I didn't learn until I went through my awakening when I was 20 years old. I'm a very spiritual person. I'm not a religious person. So religion to me is a turnoff. It's very logical. It's about rules, about structure. It's about organization. It's not about spirit, which is kind of the weirdest thing in the world because they're talking about Jesus and God, all that stuff. So most people that, in my opinion, that go to churches are not religious at all. Usually, hopefully, the head person is, but that's, I don't want to say far and few between, but whatever. So the other side of me was I was a fighter. I was always, I was a state champion, silver glove state champion in boxing when I was a kid. I think I was 12 or something like that. And in racing, I was a national champion. In football, I'll get into that because that's part of this video. So when I was in Hawaii doing this 5-week, it was a combination of NLP, Ericksonian hypnosis, Huna, which is Hawaiian energy healing, timeline therapy, etc. We got this test. I think it cost them $150 or $200 to give to each of us. So that was part of our training. And when I took the test, I had two different scores, and they were both really high. One was Rambo, basically Rambo level, I was that kind of dude. And then the other side was I was extremely high on the spiritual level. The beginning spiritual level started, I think it was a 7 or 8. I was up at, I think it was 15 or 16, and it blew the train. Wait, what? You're this level spiritual, but you're on the other end of the scale. You're like Rambo. So I'm a very protective person, and I do, it's weird because I'm a spiritual dude that's extremely tough, like a badass. So at least I used to be. I'm getting up in age now. So, so kind of gives you a little insight into who I am. And in my life, I'm a very funny person. I'm an extremely sarcastic person, but in a very enlightening and funny way. Funny. I'm just going to leave that at that. So let's go to my page because I'm really proud because I've really radically changed my website. So I'm going to go to Living My Best Life up in the menu. That is a picture of me of 2 years ago. It's in my expensive. That is a ketone jacket with a ketone dress shirt. The dress shirt is a $300 dress shirt. Ketone jacket is, I think it was $3,000 or just over. Yeah, I know, expensive. All right, I've got a couple of those actually, and I've got a dozen or more. I've got more. It's about 2 dozen ketone shirts. All right, so fighter, warrior, and coach. So definitely personal development coach, life coach, energy healing, all that stuff. I was a state champion in boxing, ranked #1 in the nation in the IKF and kickboxing. I fought in the ISKA twice, which before they went out of business. I was actually very proud of that. Because at the time, that was the big organization. Now, the IKF is the big organization. I'm going to scroll down. Let's get past that one. As you know, I'm highly trained in NLP. Look where it says 41 plus certifications. I spelled it wrong. Gotta fix that. That's where I stopped counting. I got so many certifications. A lot of these people look like weekend courses. Like, no, dude, these are like 5-week, 3-week, and 2-week trainings. This is pretty in depth. All right, so awesome is my favorite word. Like, literally, it's my favorite word. I was born and raised in Napa Valley. I'm very proud of that. And I wasn't sure. This is on my up here on my about page, which is called Living My Best Life. So the second picture is me playing football. We were section champions. I don't believe this is from the section championship game. It might have been through a playoff game. There I was blocking. I was the hardest hitter in our entire section. I think we had one of, or if not one of, the biggest section in California. It was hundreds of schools, and it was an award I never heard of. But all the coaches from the other areas were like, "Yeah, he's definitely the hardest." Like, I would destroy people. I would smash. I don't know if I was fearless, but I was reckless abandon would be the word. I just flew into people. Now I'm going to give you one story. Okay, I'll give you this one story. So I remember during the games, man, they kept calling timeouts. And I'm like, fuck, you got another fucking, because we just get in the groove and I'm focused. I'm in the zone. Let's go. And there was this one game that was halfway through the year. I'm like, motherfucker, they called another timeout. And it was Warren Bowers, by the way, if you're watching this. He goes, "It's because of you." And I'm like, "The fuck did I do?" I was so focused. Talking about being linear, man. What it was the ambulance came onto the field. Now, I didn't see this. That's how focused I was. I was in the huddle and ready for the next play. Let's go break, right? And I broke someone's arm is what it was, and they took him to the hospital. So, it was many, many years later. In fact, we're talking like 25 years later. So I think it was about 7 or 8 years ago, we had this awards banquet for the 2 section championship teams. The team I was on was one of the section championship teams. And yes, I was a co-captain of that team. And I was watching the film and, I'm like, yep, there they go calling goddamn timeouts. And I should drive me nuts. And then I saw the ambulance go on. I was like, that was because of me? And they're like, yeah, that's what we were trying to tell you. So a lot of these timeouts were not timeouts. I hurt people, so I shouldn't be proud of that, but I kind of am. not hurt in a sport. All right, so I'm a very dedicated person. So let me warn you, if you're coming to take a training with me, it's about excellence, and I mean about excellence. It's up here. You are expected to do the homework, to do the practice, and get good at it. Okay. It's not about perfection, though, but you do have to practice, and get good at it, okay? So let me just leave that right there. I've worked with Fortune 500 executives, and some of these people were like ridiculously, insanely rich. And they're like, dude, you're one of the toughest coaches I have ever worked with. And they also said you have like extremely high expectations of your students. I'm like, yeah, I do. I really do. So I'm this combination of this. So socially, I'm a really easygoing guy, funny, playful, laugh. But when it comes time to work, it's time to work. Okay. So, all right. So here's another picture of me. This is the third picture on my page. Vintage Crushers and raising my arm. I want to match. It was in a hometown weekly event, or I forget what you call them, like competition, whatever. And so yeah, I pinned that guy. And the next one is where I am pinning another guy. That's in Fairfield at Fairfield High. It might be Armio actually. Oh, that was a tournament. Okay, so because I think that guy's from Napa High, but we're definitely at Fairfield. So there's another guy pinned, and here's the really funny thing about it. I remember his foot on my head. And I was like, what the fuck? Because he was pushing down because he was trying to get out of the pin. It was on my head. So I'm going to leave it at that. So here's the next picture of me and some cuties. These are sweet girls. Met them at a club in the city called The Matrix. It is now called The White Rabbit. Now, if you ever followed the Matrix movie series and about the White Rabbit, where that one girl had the tattoo on the back of the White Rabbit and the computer told Neo to follow the White Rabbit, and they showed up his door and she turned and he's like, oh shit, okay, I'll go out. And well, it is the Matrix is now called The White Rabbit. All right. So, but it's been closed because of coronavirus. All right, so I got really, 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 really good at meeting women, like insanely. Like it's easy now. Like it's very relaxingly easy. And so that was one of my biggest challenges in life. It really was. I didn't know how to meet women all the way into my, I would say, mid 20s. I really sucked at it. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. But it was like I didn't know that I didn't know what I didn't know, and that is a very male thing. We are so different from women. Like we don't even know that we don't know what we don't know. And it for a young male, especially for me, because at the time I was national champion in kickboxing, and or excuse me, ranked number one, sorry, undefeated, and I was a champion at pretty much everything I did. But I was not a champion with the women. Let me tell you that. Fuck. So so I got really really good at it once it, God, this is a long journey. I'm not going to go into this too in depth. It really was something I learned from NLP, a very basic, two basic patterns. Um, and then it was something I learned from Buddha Calm about how to open up and expand and how to be very, it's like you open your love energy. And that's the best way I can explain it without teaching it to you. And that's when I had those three things, bam, 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 all of a sudden meeting women became very, very easy and very possible. And then I made a decision to start coaching. I was like, well, I might as well make money doing something that I'm learning and something that I'm absolutely fascinated in. Because, if you're doing this job or you're over here studying this stuff, I'm like, well, if I'm studying this, put my heart and soul into it, I might as well be teaching this and making money and getting better at it. So it was a very, very good win-win deal. I'll leave that. So now let's go to the next one. I'm very proud of this picture here. Hold on. So this is my former coach, current mentor and friend, Jacob Stitch Duran. We are definitely still in touch. Well, on Facebook mostly. He called me about 2 years ago just to see how I was doing. So he posted on Twitter. Just had a great conversation with Mike Colleen. In fact, that was a conversation. Just had a great conversation with Mike Colleen, one of my first champion kickboxers. Nice to talk about the good old days after 16 years. Oh my God. So a long time. That guy is one of the coolest dudes you'll ever meet in your life. I mean, that dude's smooth, and he's he's a funny guy, very positive. That's one thing. I think I get the word awesome from him because he'd always say, "That's awesome. You're awesome, Mikey." Everyone calls me Mikey, which I thought was kind of weird. The one story I'm going to say this one story. I had a fight in Bakersfield. I went down with Jacob and my mom's at the time boyfriend, and then my former sparring partner. We went down to Bakersfield, California, and I forget the name of the venue.